Hey everybody, this is Precious SoCal Gardner. So please excuse my office slash stockpile room. I'm actually gonna get in here and clean it out. I had one job, emptied out my office, put stuff in here, and now I have to clean it out. But that's not why I'm doing this video. Recently, there was a segment of a woman's video going around. I believe the segment of the video was entitled Black Woman Competition or something like that. Philip Scott posted the video that he saw, and so did Stevie from Night Talks. And um, both the gentlemen, African American, um, they come, they show different aspects of videos, but to me, it always seems like they kind of, um, in a way, kind of come to the same conclusion, just different ways. And I love both men. I go hard um, for black men, and in general, I go hard for men, American men, because I feel like they get such bad rap. So I made a comment on Phil Scott's video that he originally did. And today I see that he posted an interview with the woman who had did the video, the German woman. Actually, she's Turkish and she's married to a black man, been married over 20 something years. And then I watched Night Talks video. There, he has some good videos. He makes me laugh a lot. I agree with a lot of what he says, and I agree a lot with what Phil Scott says, and a lot of other YouTube content um, creators. It's good to see different perspectives because it opens your mind to things. So usually when I'm watching a video, I am commenting as I'm watching. And that's just me. I'm like, oh, I like what they said. Well, oh, I agree with that. Well, no, I disagree with that. Sometimes I can put 2 to 3 or 4 comments at a time when I'm watching a video. So one of the comments I made on the video was just my assessment. I'm wondering what her husband is saying to her in order to assume that all Western women are the same. And I use Western women because she used that phrase. She also mentioned average Black American families in it. And so a lot of Black American women responded to her video and they were a little bit upset. And in some instances, I think they should be upset, but I usually don't respond to a person of another nationality or race that may be critiquing, I'm going to say it nicely, putting a critique on Black American culture and Black American families because they are not within our culture. And our culture is so widespread. There are 52 states, and every region is a little different, and every state is a little different. Let me give you some background. Um, my mother's family and my father's family both come from the South, out of Louisiana. Um, my grandmother, when she was probably a teenager, migrated with her family to California. Then the family split. Some went to the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, and then the others came down here, more to Southern California, the Los Angeles area, which is how I'm here. So my great grandfather, my great grandmother came here. My great uncle and my grandmother's brother, came here, and then my great grandfather's other part of the family. Oh, and also my great aunt Titi came down here, and the rest of the family went up to Oakland. That's why. That's why they're here. That's why I'm here. Um, the young lady mentioned in the video, or her segment of the video, because she mentioned today in the interview with Phil Scott that nobody watched the entirety of the video. And I get that. But that one segment was enough to really cause a lot of critique and conflict. And in some ways, it could be hurtful. For me, I don't care. Love who you love. I don't care as long as you're not hurting nobody else. And as long as you're not demonizing or disparaging another culture because you're married to a black man and he chose you. I don't care. Love who you love. I think white men are beautiful. I love my black brothers. I love my Asian brothers. I love my Latino brothers. I love Middle Eastern. I just love, and I love men. I'm a Jehovah Witness, and I love how Jehovah created men and women to be the complement for the man. I just I just love it. But when I made my comment, a couple of people say, "Well, she didn't say that," and I said, "Well, I didn't say that she said that. I didn't say that she said this." I go back and watch the video. Well, she didn't say her husband told her anything, and I said I didn't say that her husband told her anything. I said I wonder what her husband may be telling her. Now, the woman also stated that she was in the States for about 2 years. So Philip Scott, he really watched the segment of the video that he saw, right? And he said, "Well, when you came to the States, where were you?" And she said, like New York, Chicago, and Philly. And he said, "So you didn't come to the South? You didn't go to the Midwest? You didn't come to the..." Well, no. And he was like, "Well, then you only got a very small percentage. Like I just stated in the beginning of this video, there is a gamut of African Americans. This, remember, America was supposedly supposed to be a melting pot, but from the African American point of view, we did not migrate here. We were forced to come here. And there's also another perspective that black people were already here in the native sort of way. I'm not going to get into that, but slaves did come here. And like I also stated, my family came from the South. Now, I was raised in a single parent household. Um, Unfortunately, me and my father don't have the best relationship, but I would never disrespect him. And my father also has dementia right now. He is a Vietnam vet. He did 2 terms in Nam. He had PTSD. He's very sick right now, and I have 2 brothers by him and a brother by my mom, and my brother takes care of him. Um, but with that being said, I had a lot of uncles, a lot of great uncles, and my uncles showed me love. They showed me what a male figure is supposed to be. They showed me how to ride bikes, how to skate, how to cook, how to do so many things. So, just one thing here, just because I was raised in a single family household does not mean that I don't have love for my black men. So, one thing she mentioned was that her husband basically didn't really have a nurturing environment. And that's why I came with the question, well, what is your husband, what is her husband telling her in order for her to make the reference that the the the, the average black American family doesn't have structure? Because even though I came from a single family household, um, I cooked, I made breakfast, I made dinner, I made lunch. My mother, when she got home from work, she would cook. Sundays was a big day for family structure. She always cooked on Sundays. Um, and when you are raised, everybody's family outlook is different. Um, you're being raised in the ghettos of any of these states. I was raised in Watson, Compton. You are taught to survive. It doesn't mean that you're never going to get married and not know how to act like a wife. I've had boyfriends. I'm single. I have boyfriends, and let's say we go to a barbecue or something. I don't even ask them if they're hungry. I just make a plate and put them in front of them, and they eat it. Um, Before I became a Jehovah Witness, my boyfriend would spend the night, and I would make him dinner, and he would take out the trash because that's the man's thing to do. So I'm looking at the perspective that maybe she thought her husband wasn't nurtured and they weren't taught certain roles. She had mentioned today during the Phil Scott interview that she noticed that there wasn't a lot of communication in the household. There's plenty of communication growing up in my household, and with my family. When my grandparents were alive and all my aunts and uncles were alive, us as a family unit, with being one of the grandkids, we would go bike riding and we would have family events. And on my father's side of the family, my father would actually go to the park because they do family reunions every year. Get to the park early in the morning, lay down, save a spot, and all of my grandmother's siblings and their children and their grandchildren had family reunions and had Christmas parties and things of this nature. So I believe Phil was correct in saying she only saw a very small, minute percentage of some type of African American um, life. I think two things that hit the hardest, like one thing people are not catching on is that I apologize, I have allergies really bad. See, I mentioned in the video, I'm clean. African Americans are very clean. In fact, most minorities in America are very clean. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the videos in the past 2 years of non-colored people stating that, and it's not all of them because I have non-colored friends that bathe every day, not using washcloths and maybe bathing once a week. And when they do bathe, wash their hair and let the soap drip down, and that's how they get clean. A lot of African Americans are not raised that way. First of all, it's not a wash rag, it's a washcloth. And I say that because she did say the word, she did say the words, I'm clean, as if the skin is not clean. Um, I was taught to take two washcloths. That's what they're called when you go to the store. When you go to Target or Walmart or Kohl's, they're called washcloths in the shower with you. And then you use one to wash your face, your neck, and this, and maybe your legs and arms. And then use the other one to get in your pits and cracks. She mentioned that. I'm trying to see what else. Um, she mentioned the nurturing part, which really, to me, just our history as African Americans, from slavery through Reconstruction, through segregation, through civil rights, even up until now, it is documented that African Americans breastfed the plantation owners' children and took care of their children and showed them love and taught them things. So, how is that not nurturing? There are statistics, and I wish I would have pulled them up before I started this video, showing in the past, I don't know if the statistics are still the same, that a lot of African Americans are chosen to be put on um, juries for murder trials because we tend to be so forgiving. If we weren't forgiving and loving and nurturing as we are, we probably could have took down this country a long time ago from all the lynchings, using our babies as alligator bait, all of the SA to our black men and women in history, just the atrocities that our ancestors don't even want to talk about. And to say, because of the experience maybe her husband had, and attribute that and generalize that to the entire black average black family. Um, Another thing is, in this country, stuff is high. People got to work. Um, it's it's hard to say, well, I just want to stay home and take care of my kids. Things are expensive, even if, no matter what race or nationality or color you are in America, even if you're not in a corporate setting, a lot of women, like me, I garden. They find a way to supplement income. I have a friend that sews a lot of clothes, and her clothes are like bomb. Like, you would think she went to Macy's and got her clothes. Take on a part-time job, maybe sell Mary Kay, maybe sell Avon, maybe sell that jewelry that everybody's been selling, maybe sell lunches, food. Find a way to supplement income, because it's very hard, whether you are Asian, white, black, Hispanic, to be in a one income household and count on that income. Even if you are in a one income household, you still may want to supplement income, because you don't know if your partner or your spouse may get laid off and lose their job due to AI right now. Or you go to the market and they don't want to have cashiers, they want you to self checkout. There's a lot of reason why. So she's been in her country for a while. I don't know if she flies back and forth. I'm pretty sure she does, because her husband's family is here. And I don't know her whole husband's family's dynamic. But I do know that when I made that comment, there were two particular black men that came at me. Well, why do you think this? And I'm like, I'm not here to argue. I'm okay with having a conversation. And they were literally trying to find a way in to attack. And then one of them finally said, well, you're old. So of course you see my profile picture. You may have seen that I recently aged. I had a birthday, and so finally I just said, well, I knew that you, basically, I'm like, I know you were looking for a way in to insult me. So you have a great day, because I know I'm gonna have a great day. Um, was it hurtful? Yeah, it was hurtful, because they're black men and they kept saying, all of y'all women are loud, all of y'all want to argue. Have you seen every black woman or met every single black family um, in the United States? Have you met every black person in the diaspora, in the world, to make the comment of awe? Well, the black marriage rate is low. I agree, the black marriage rate is low, but it's not zero. Well, you're saying that zero is a win. I said, I didn't say zero is a win. I said it's low, but it's not non existent. I try to look at the positive aspects of things. And the way these two men communicated with me, it was almost like they wanted to throw the black community away. What community? There is a black community, it is a small community. Unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of mass media on stereotypes that are negative in the black community, like the high sexuality of females. Look at our female rappers. Look at our male rappers. Um, it's like these two particular gentlemen, like they hate black women. And it just breaks my heart because I go hard. I go hard. I go hard for what's right. I go hard for my black men. I go hard for our black women, but I also go hard for when I see injustices. I go hard. And not even to have a simple conversation. And you're old. I don't care about the old part. I'm happy that I'm older and that I'm wiser. It's like, wow, it's like you're throwing your whole community away. One guy was like, well, I'm black and I agree with what she said. They just wanted to jump on it. And not every, her perception to her is right, but it really is not correct. Um, I came from a very loving family. And a lot of black women are out here, and a lot of black men are out here working, working, trying to support their families. And with this skin comes responsibilities. I guess I can I can say that there comes responsibilities. We don't have the, what is the word I'm trying to think of? Comfort, maybe. Um, no, that's not the word I'm trying to think of. It'll come to me probably when I go to bed tonight and I'm sleeping. I'm like, that's the word I want to say on the video. Um, we we have to take care of ourselves. I was always taught that you have to take care of yourselves. I've had men tell me, well, you just went out and bought your house. I have a rental property and I have this house. You just went out and bought your house, so you're never going to get married. No man is ever going to want you. And when I hear things, and this is coming from black men, and when I hear things like that, all I think is, I was just raised to take care of myself. I didn't realize that getting a mortgage and purchasing a home for myself was going to exclude me from having a relationship with someone. I was like, get a job, take care of yourself. I wasn't even told to get educated. I'm educated. I have a couple of degrees. I wasn't even told that. I was just told get a government job and get you get get you someplace to live and do that. I was literally told the basics, but something in my mind told me, I should just go out and try to get certifications and a degree. And I'm always learning. I was researching some stuff today, maybe going into another field in my current field of work that I'm in to see if AI is going to take it over. Um, but over, I, it's weird because as much as I love black men and I love my community, this younger generation, um, I don't see any love coming back from them. And it hurts. I'm not a mother, but these two gentlemen came at me, and you're just old, and that's why we're going out to look other women. Do you came from a black woman, so you hate us? Why do you hate us? Maybe your personal family situation wasn't that great, and maybe that's why you have the feelings that you have, and I can understand that. But you have to look at the gamut. You have to look at a wide spectrum. Not everybody's experience is your experience. And that's basically with my comment. I was like, well, what is her husband saying to her? Because that was her husband's experience. That may not necessarily be every black man's experience in the United States. I will say there are some loud women in our community, but guess what? There are loud women in every community. There are loud men in every community. There are men who do domestic violence in every community. There are people that do SA in every community, and they do it to their own people. So I think that we should be careful when making statements that you don't generalize using stereotypes. Um, there are stereotypes, and I was going to say these stereotypes fall into the workplace. I have personally been affected by stereotypes in the workplace that have nothing to do with me. Um, been attacked verbally, um, my qualifications being attacked because of the color of my skin and because I come from a black mother and father, and it's hurtful. But you know what? Like my mother always say, pull your panties back up and keep on strutting, and keep on strutting. But I am concerned about the younger generation and their thoughts. And when I say the younger generation, I mean the younger African Americans in our country, the the music that's out there, the media that's out there. I've seen some crazy stuff, but the stuff that I see, I always think that is a small percentage because I have a cousin that has two children that are now, one's graduated from college with a medical degree and going to medical school, and the other one's in the second year of college. I have a niece and nephew that want to be lawyers and engineers and things of that nature. I have cousins and other nieces and nephews. There are lots of professionals in my family. Sometimes we have hard times, sometimes we have good times. But you know what? We keep on trucking and we pull each other up. We don't let each other fall. So that's why I had put the question, well, what is her husband telling her? And then I have new friends on YouTube. Let me mention a couple of black men. Lead Farmer 73, Hands in the Dirt, Juicing with Jay, Micro Farmer, uh, African Dreamin'. I'm probably missing some people right now. I think I mentioned about 5 black men that are married and they live throughout the United States and they're taking care of their families and they're married. Well, I don't think Michael Farmer, I don't know if his wife is black or not, but they are married and taking care of their families. And I've never heard them once disparage a black woman. I believe I mentioned earlier that one of my brothers has never dated a black woman. But one thing he does do, if I go on social media or I talk to him on the phone, he calls my mother at least 2 to 3 times a week. And he uplifts black women just because his preference to love a woman of a different race, he does not go and disparage and downgrade black women because he came from a black woman. So I'm just trying to understand where the hatred is coming from. I felt like the way these young men were talking to me, that they were throwing the baby out with the bathwater, like they just literally want to throw away the whole black community. Um, I don't know them. And I told him, I said, you don't know me from Adam, and I don't know you. And I usually don't speak on matters such as this, but it really bothered me. You don't have to like me. I don't care. But when you say you're gonna throw, to me, I felt like they didn't say they were gonna throw away the whole community, but it really felt like they really dislike the black community. And you rarely ever hear men and women from other ethnic backgrounds talk about their women in that way or their men in that way, because there are some women I've seen that, oh, the black men, this and this. I feel that we have to stop doing that in the social media forum, because people take that as such dysfunction in our community. So you can leave a comment. I ask that you please do not leave um, a hateful comment, just an honest comment. And before you post it, kind of reread it and just think about it. Because I've been having to do that lately. Like, how is someone going to take this comment and they still take it wrong? I told one of the gentlemen, and I'm being nice when I say gentlemen, he said, well, I'm a black man. I said, and obviously you see that I'm a black woman because I have my picture on my profile. Neither one of these guys create a lot of content and they don't have their picture on their profile. So either they're just professional baiters and haters that like to just come in and cause drama, or they're hiding and that's how they really feel. They said they were black, but I don't know if you're really black until I see a picture. And that's your choice if you want to put a picture. I don't care. But I'm sure there's some black men that really hate the community when I'm going to say it's hurtful to hear that. They're probably like, good, I'm happy you're hurting. You're a black woman and you're loud and you're blah, blah, and you're nappy-headed and you're this and you're that. And that's your choice if you don't want to like me. I've I'm 50 years old. I've come to half a century. I really don't care, because the bottom line is, the biggest thing to me is for me to be healthy, for me to love myself, for me to love my family and friends, and to take care of my family, and just to make sure I have a roof over my head. I believe these two people who make these comments are young men, and I pray that they make it to 50 years of age safely being black in this country. Um, Maybe they will have a different perspective on life. I have a life. I don't have time to be arguing over comments over some woman who doesn't even know me, who made a comment that she thought she was okay with on social media. Um, I do not usually respond directly to videos of that sort, because as far as I'm concerned, you're not talking about me. But on the outside of the community, people are going to take it as you are. And her experience with African American, and I'm going to say Western women, is very limited, because she said she came out here for 2 years and you were in 2 or 3 states. It was very limited, and she was probably only in certain areas of that state. California is a huge state. I think it's like the second largest to Texas or the third largest to Texas. It's a huge state. Texas is a huge state, and there are different characteristics throughout their state. There are different characteristics throughout this state. One year I had to do some work up in Fresno when I was working for another utility. And remember, I live in Southern California. I had to go up to Fresno, went to a Mexican restaurant. The food was completely different from what we have in Southern California. It wasn't awful, but it didn't have the spices and stuff that I was used to down here in Southern California. We have a whole Armenian community. We have a whole Jewish community. We have Chinatown. We have Koreatown. We have so many different communities, and she was just like in New York, which New York itself is diverse and has many communities. I know, because my grandfather's side of the family from New York, my grandfather is actually from the Caribbean islands. He is from um, the Arawak Indian tribe, which I think that tribe is almost non-existent. Um, he was born in 1908. I found the 1920 census that said that his family spoke French, and they were in Yonkers, New York. A lot of my grandfather's side of the family recently left New York. I think there are one or two people that still live there, and they're like in Baltimore and Washington. And on my father's side of the family, this is my grandfather's, my mother's father, and my grandmother, who was married to my grandfather, was raised in Monroe, Louisiana. Then there's my father's side of family. So there's so many different aspects and cultures within the African American culture. And then you have your Latino culture. You can't say everybody's from Mexico. South America is a huge continent. You have people from El Salvador, from Belize. There is many cultures within the Latino cultures. See what I'm saying? There's many cultures within Asian culture. You got Japanese, you got Chinese, you got Korean, you got South Korean, North Korean. I can't even name them all. You see what I'm saying? So to generalize and say that African American community um, is not nurturing and their women are loud and we're not loving towards our men is very misleading. And I hope that she will visit all the states and multiple counties and cities in all our states to see that that's not the truth that she was speaking about. They're just we have a lot of gang members. Our Latino brothers and sisters have a lot of gang members. In fact, our Latino community in Los Angeles has taken over many of the black gang communities. Or we have Asian gangs. People don't talk about that. There's gangs and we have white gangs. There's gangs in every community. There's drugs in every community. There's single mothers in every community. Are our numbers low? Yes, they're low. But then I think about the statistics about the African American community and I wonder sometimes where did they get these statistics from? Who did they ask? Who did they come to get these statistics? Are we getting the right statistics? Are we? I I don't know. I don't know. Who did they ask? Did they ask everybody in America? I wonder sometimes. I'm not saying that the statistics they put out are wrong. I'm just asking what data did they pull their statistics from? And I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me. I don't have all of the answers to everything. I've only been on this earth 50 years. My mother has been on this earth almost 80 years, and she's seen a lot. She's gone through multiple Watts riots. She's she's the oldest of six. Four of her siblings are dead. Her mother and father are dead. She had a niece that died. My father has dementia. My brother's father is dead. That was the love of her life. And they were really good friends. They weren't together, but they were like they would talk on the phone all the time. And that's another thing you say women are. She mentioned women being loud, but my brother's father loved my mom, and they were the best of friends, even though they couldn't live together. They never fought. They had disagreements, and he told my mom one day. He said, I think one of the mistakes I made was not marrying you. Because he was kind of a rolling stone. He liked the women. After he had my brother, he had like five more kids from four women. And I thought he was an awesome guy. And they got along so well. But my mother also accepted that he at the time wasn't in love with her. And instead of her, oh, I hate him, and she never demonized him. They became friends until the day he died. And they would talk on the phone. If he was in the hospital, she would check up on him. If she was in the hospital, he would check up on her. So I think the dynamics of the Black community is just a wide range of it. Just because my mother wasn't married doesn't mean that she hated her children's father, and that I did have a relationship with my grandmother. My grandmother on my dad's side sent all of her grandchildren to typing school. Why? Because she was a Black educated woman that said my grandkids need to know how to type because computers and stuff. I was 9 years old learning how to type. Whether or not she was close to me, she said, "This is my grandchild. My grandchild. My grandchild is Black. She needs to survive. She needs to survive." And that love and that survival instinct usually overrules everything. So again, I come back to the question, why are some of our younger generation, and I'm doing it for women too, why are you hating Black men? And why, young men, why are you hating Black women? If it's from your personal experience, I get it and I understand, but I also ask you to start looking at other avenues and start looking at other perspectives and start experiencing something else. Travel throughout the United States. The United States is a big continent. Travel throughout the United States and then travel outside the United States. Meet other cultures. Meet your other Black cultures within this place called America. Because there's a whole gamut going on that you're missing out on. And I don't want any of you to reflect on your youth and see that you've missed out on so much. Because there's so much out there. There's so much positive in the Black community. And the mainstream media is not going to tell you the positive. Because a lot of times they want us to get overworked and we need to fix this and we need to fix that, but there's a lot of good things out there, and I'm just saying go look for it. Okay, so I've been on this video for almost 45 minutes. I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna end it like I always say. Please find peace within yourself and be peaceable with those around you and stay safe and find love in your heart and don't spew hate. I love you all, okay? Have a fantastic